Dalam dunia hiburan Bollywood yang gemerlap, ada sosok bintang yang tak hanya menginspirasi dalam seni peran, tetapi juga merangkul jutaan hati untuk menemukan makna kehidupan yang lebih dalam. Dikutip dari kanal YouTube Ape Astronaut, seorang wanita memilih agama Islam karena ingin seperti Shahrukh Khan. Bagaimana kisahnya? Langsung tonton videonya ya.
Me, I was really, really little, and I didn't like at all how the church was doing it. I had to go always to ask money to people, and I didn't like that at all. So I was all the time asking myself, why we have to do that? If it's for God, why we have to go to ask money to people when they come to the church? And this was really affecting myself. Like, I didn't like that. So after I stopped going to the church, I prayed at home a lot. Like every night I just prayed by myself, and I really liked that connection that I had. Also, I didn't consider that Jesus, alayhi salam, he was God. I always thought that Jesus was a really good human. So this was my image about Jesus, and God, it's something separate. I never considered that Jesus was God. So yeah, and that was that time after I started watching Indian movies. This was my first time I came into Islam. So it was my favorite superstar, Shahrukh Khan. I really loved him. So what I did, I started searching so much about him. Everything. I had like an interview. I just printed that, all the questions that the man was asking him. I just put it everywhere in the walls in my room. And in one question it was, are you a Muslim? And Shahrukh Khan, he answered, yes, I am Muslim. And then I had there that the religion is Islam. But as I was really little, I was between like 10, 12 years, I didn't really know what is that. It didn't really came into my brain to think about that, right? So I just leave it like this. I knew that he had another religion. I didn't know nothing about Islam or being a Muslim. So, but I know that he pray a lot of his movies, blah, blah, right? So I started also doing this kind of little things. Even in some movies, they show like Hinduism, not really Islam. But I was praying, like he was praying in that movie, so I prayed too. So I prayed more. And it was really funny that time. Yeah, this was my first connection with Islam. So, but I really didn't care so much. After, like few years ago, like 6 years ago, something like this, there was a time that war of Syria. Here in Luxembourg, we received so many refugees, and yeah, there was my second time that I got to know a little bit more about Islam. So I started having also friends. They were Muslim, but not really, like, they didn't really show really Islam, right? Because they came here, it was a difficult time for them. So, but I started wanting to know why those women, they had a headscarf. It was really new for me. Like, I never saw really someone with a headscarf, right? I have seen like old women, like 1 or 2 old women where I was living. They had a little headscarf when they went to the church, but few times. This was not the normal thing. So, but those people, they came and they had really all the time the headscarf and really like the hijab and everything. I was really curious about that. And the problem with me is when people, they start talking about refugees, these Syrian people, they were talking bad about them. Imagine if there is coming someone, a terrorist between them. I just don't like when people, they talk like this without knowing nothing about it, right? Because a war, it's something really, really that we cannot imagine if we don't go through it. We don't know how it is. And it's really hard. I always try to defend and I always try to give them an explanation of this war. So I start studying these wars and everything like this. So again, I went a little bit away from Islam and I went to what was the war about. So to give that explanation to those people who talk bad about the refugees. So yeah, this was my second time coming in connection with Islam, but not really, but it was a little bit in my mind why they have the headscarves and stuff like this. Then it came something really, really special. My husband, he is a Muslim, and I was really, really excited to know more about Islam. Because why? All these experiences that I had in my life, I had that always in the back of my mind. That Islam, being a Muslim, all these things. And I was really curious in that time. So I started asking my husband really so many questions about it. And he started talking so much about it. And I really love it so much. In that time, I was still Catholic, but as a name. But I was believing in a God, a creator, but I didn't practice that time. I didn't pray, but I still believed in a God. And in Jesus, of course. But as a good man. Right? So yeah, I wanted to know everything. That time, my husband was telling me stuff, and I always wanted to defend a little bit of my beliefs. Even if it was really a little knowledge that I had, almost nothing about the Bible, really almost nothing. But I started wanting to know more a little bit about the Bible that I could defend. So, but he all the time just came with things about my Bible that I didn't even know. So it was like, really? But so many things that I wanted to know about God and about all these stories that I had in my mind and all the feelings that I had, Islam could answer everything. Every single questions that I had, my husband will give it to me. And that time I felt really like this is something really special. All these things, all these explanations, they are all making sense. And it's really logical. It's really simple. And I really loved it. So that's why I decided to take my Shahada. I took my Shahada with my husband that time. And after directly one day, we got married. I was really happy. It was the happiest time of my life when I became Muslim. But there was a problem. There was a problem with my family. They didn't really accept that I became Muslim. I really had a strong connection with my entire family. It was a really difficult time, especially with my mom. When you see your mom crying, it becomes really hard. So she was crying all the time. All the time, why I became Muslim. She always said to me, but I told you so many things, I teach you so many things about our religion, why you change that, why you want to change everything, why you want to change your whole life. So I needed to know more about Islam, that I can explain more to my mom and to my family, of course. And also my husband, he tried a little bit to explain, but it was really hard that time. After a few months directly, when I revert to Islam, I start wearing the hijab. So this was a time that I think it was the difficult time in my entire life. With my family, it was so hard. I don't care what people say, my friends. I don't care if they don't want to be friends anymore with me. I don't care what other people say when they see me. I don't care about them. But about my family, because they were so important and we had that strong relationship and everything, it became really, really hard. It was times that I just cried all the time. And thanks to my husband, alhamdulillah, he was really supportive and he supported me in every single thing. So it started also that I had to cry. So when I went to my family's houses and everything, it was really hard because I didn't want to stop crying. I didn't do that. So I had to ask all the time my family to go to a place to pray. Because especially my father, he didn't like it at all that I became Muslim. He didn't like it at all that I wear like this. All that was a big problem for my father. But like I always asked to my mom or my sisters to go somewhere to pray. So alhamdulillah, this they accepted, but still my hijab, it was really difficult. I had times that my sisters, they were crying, my mom, especially my mom, it was really hard. So that point I explained really good. And they accepted a little bit. So, but yeah, but until now it's a little bit hard. But like, especially my older sister, she started to accepting and I feel comfortable to talk about Islam and to explain a little bit, because in the beginning it was really hard to explain to my family what is Islam, why I changed. And it was not because of my husband, because they were thinking, because with my husband it was so fast that we married, and they were thinking that he was forcing me or something like this. So I had to explain myself, and it was really hard that time because they didn't accept it. So yeah, but now it's a little bit more easier, alhamdulillah, and I can talk a little bit more about this and explain to them a little bit more and make them see that it's not completely a different religion. It's just because we come from this prophet and to the last prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and I want that they know. And I really love to talk about it, and yeah, so So yeah, that's it. That was my journey to Islam. I really loved it and I really feel so amazing. Alhamdulillah, with my little family that I have now. It's so important, Islam, for me. It's my life and I cannot live without it. Alhamdulillah. And thank you so much and see you in the next video, inshallah. Ma'assalamah.
Dengan begitu, semoga kisah inspiratif mualaf kali ini memberikan pelajaran berharga bagi kita semua. Jangan lewatkan konten-konten menarik lainnya seputar kehidupan dan agama dengan subscribe ke channel kami. Bagikan cerita ini kepada teman-teman dan keluarga agar mereka pun bisa mendapatkan inspirasi yang sama. Jangan lupa untuk tinggalkan komentar di bawah tentang pandanganmu terhadap perjalanan mualaf kali ini dan bagaimana hal ini mempengaruhi sudut pandangmu terhadap kehidupan. Terima kasih telah menyimak dan sampai jumpa di kesempatan berikutnya.